Staveley is a village in the district of South Lakeland in Cumbria, England, historically part of Westmorland. It is situated 4 miles northwest of Kendal, where the River Kent is joined by its tributary the Gowan. It is also known as Staveley-in-Westmorland and Staveley-in-Kendal to distinguish it from Staveley-in-Cartmel. There are 2 civil parishes, Nether Staveley and Over Staveley. The total population at the 2011 census was 1,147. Geography. The village is strategically placed at the junction of the rivers Kent and Gowan, at the mouth of the Kendmere Valley. 3 hills overlook the village: Rest and Scar on the north side, on which much of the village is built. Pike Howe to the northeast, known to the locals as Cragway Wood, and Lily Fell to the south in the direction of the village of Crook on the opposite side of the A591 bypass. Pike Howe and Rest and Scar sit either side of the opening into the Kendmere Valley. Both mark the beginning of a larger horseshoe chain of hills known as the Kendmere Round. The nearest village to the west is Ings, a small settlement which now shares schools and parish minister with Staveley. To the south of the village is Crook, and to the north Kendmere, which can only be accessed by road via Staveley village centre, meaning that the 2 villages have had a close relationship with each other for many centuries. But the village which had the strongest links to Staveley in more recent years is arguably Burnside, which is the next stop on the railway line to the east on the way to Kendal. National Cycle Route 6 and the Dales Way footpath run through Burnside and Staveley. River Gowan Beck comes into the village from the west after passing through the village of Ings. There is sometimes flooding at the confluence of the 2 rivers. History. The area has been inhabited since around 4000 BC, when Celtic-speaking Britons established farms. It has been suggested that the Romans built a road near Staveley to link the Roman forts at Kendal and Ambleside. However, the existence of any Roman road in the immediate vicinity of Kendal is not confirmed. On the other hand, the Roman road at High Street is well evidenced. Weekly markets and a 3-day annual fair were held from 1329, when the village was granted a market charter. In the 18th century, a turnpike road from Kendal to Ambleside was constructed through Staveley. In Dorothy Wordsworth's journal for 1802 there are references to an inn at Staveley. She wrote, "I am always glad to see Staveley. It is a place I dearly love to think of." Since the 1840s, Staveley has had a railway station on the Windermere branch line from Windermere to Oxenholme. It is one of only a few locations in the Lake District National Park to have a station. But in the 19th century, most tourists continued their journey to the railhead at Windermere. Staveley remained relatively unaffected by mass tourism until the 20th century. Another 19th century project built through Staveley is the Thirlmere Aqueduct, commissioned in 1894. On its way to Manchester, the aqueduct passes under the River Kent at Staveley. Although the Staveley section of the aqueduct was constructed underground, some of the infrastructure associated with it is visible. Governance. Historically within the county of Westmorland, it became part of the new non-metropolitan county of Cumbria in 1974. The area of Staveley is divided into 3 civil parishes: Nether Staveley, Over Staveley, Hugill. Williamson's monument is situated on the fell above this section of the parish. Woods. The village got its name from the woodworking industry that thrived in the area due to the forests that originally covered the surrounding hills, and the close proximity of 2 rivers for processing the wood. Staveley means literally the field of staffs. Woods in the area include Beckmickling, which is managed by the Woodland Trust; Craggy Plantation, which belongs to the Lake District National Park Authority and is mainly deciduous. This area was used in the 1990s for testing various measures to control the spread of North American gray squirrels into the native red squirrel habitats. Dorothy Farrar's Spring Wood, which is managed by the Cumbria Wildlife Trust. There is a tradition of coppicing, which the Trust continues in the interests of biodiversity. Birdlife includes the pied flycatcher, Mike's Wood, native woodland planted in the 1990s by the organization Friends of the Lake District. Mills. In the Middle Ages, the mills at Staveley produced woolen cloth. During the Industrial Revolution there was cotton production at Staveley, and there is an 18th-century mill building from this time. The cotton industry shifted to Lancashire, and the Staveley mills were converted to work wood. By 1850 bobbin turning was the main industry in the valley. While there is no longer any bobbin production, there are carpentry businesses in the village including Peter Hall, Staveley Mill Yard at the Weir by Wilf's Cafe. Visitors can see water being drawn from the River Kent, which originally powered a water wheel, replaced in 1902 with turbines. Historic buildings. A conservation area protects much of the centre of Staveley. There are proposals to extend the conservation area across the River Kent to include a garden designed by Thomas Mawson. Staveley has a number of listed buildings, including its oldest building, a tower, all that remains of a medieval church dedicated to St. Margaret. The structure is maintained as a clock tower. On it is a plaque commemorating the Staveley men of F Company, 2nd VB Border Regiment, who served in the South Africa Campaign of 1901 under Major John Thompson. In 1338 the then Lord of the Manor, Sir William Thwang, agreed to build a church. Before this the villagers had been expected to travel 7 miles to Kendal each Sunday for services. The church, completed in 1388, was replaced by a new parish church built in 1864–65 to a design by J.S. Crowther. This Victorian church, dedicated to St. James, is notable for the stained glass windows at the east end, which were designed by Sir Edward Burne-Jones and made by Morris & Co. They depict the crucifixion and ascension of Christ surrounded by angels and stars. One of the angels was used for the Royal Mail's second-class Christmas stamp in 2009. Other places of worship. There is a small Catholic church, now disused, situated on Station Road. There are 2 former chapels, which were Wesleyan Methodist and Primitive Methodist prior to Methodist Union in 1932. They have been converted for residential use. Education. Staveley CE Primary School was founded in 1755 and moved to its present position at Brow Lane on Reston Scar in 1840. A new building was built 30 years ago to house the infant classes. The school also caters for children from the nearby villages of Crook, Kendmere and Ings. Before the modern-day school that exists now, the school used to be housed in a small cottage on Main Street next to St. Margaret's Tower. Cultural activities. Every year in August, residents put on an art exhibition for regional artists at the Roundhouse.